And it is a bad crypto extra. Joel Comm here alongside or above or below. I don't know where he's showing, but Travis Wright's in the house.
Welcome to our Bad Crypto Extra. This is an exciting time. This is the first time we've done one of these, Mr. Joel Comm.
I know, so fun. We're a month in. We're already, thanks to you, our listeners, and now our viewers. You might turn away, though, and not look at it if the light is too
We're
bright.
hideous. Don't look at us.
It's beautiful. We told you we wanted to start bringing in industry people. And today we have the pleasure of doing that. And we'll introduce this guy that's just kind of sitting there going, what am I doing here? In just a moment. I do want to let you know that the Bad Crypto Podcast, the expenses for this podcast are completely coming out of our pocket. In fact, you could tell Travis is underfed because we're spending all his money getting this podcast going.
Right. Nice. But you can tell I'm here in Belize.
Yeah.
Here in my green screen.
He needs to eat. The boy needs pizza. He needs some hot dogs. He needs some Fritos and
Are you fat shaming me, Joel?
And some I won't stand up and show you my gut.
I'm offended. I'm gonna get an attorney.
It is there. We do. I wonder if there's a currency that can go around shaming.
Yeah, I don't know.
Crypto.
We can invent it.
Shame coin. We send you coin. The more coin you get, the more shame. But
yes, I'm so shamed of my big fat piles of coin.
So we told you we were going to bring some altcoins, and we are always on the lookout for interesting crypto that's out there. And we promise that we will do our best to always vet those companies and cryptos that we bring before you to the best of our knowledge. But of course, this podcast is for entertainment purposes. We are not financial advisors. You are responsible for your own money. So please don't take anything that we share with you as investment and advice. Right, Travis?
That is correct, because we are not financial advisors. We have been in this process of learning how the whole crypto world works. And in the process of our journey, we are sharing our learnings. And along the way, we've had some pretty amazing conversations. We have learned some amazing things. We've shared with you a lot of stuff already. We've gone, I guess our episode 9 dropped last night. And so we are a serial podcast as well. So if you tune into the beginning episodes, then you can get caught up because we lay the foundation on each episode. Gets a little stronger.
It down. We break it down.
Break it down. We're building a wall, one brick at a time.
So that to say that today's podcast, we're going to introduce you to this guy who's like, when are you going to get on with it already? I don't know how much more. If you guys break out in song, I'm out of here. So this is actually a sponsored interview today, and we want to let you know that we are being compensated for our time with bringing this individual and their company to you. However, we're doing it first because we like what they're doing and we think you should meet them. And frankly, don't you think we should get paid a little bit to do this show? I mean, Travis got to eat. So with that said, now it's time to bring in the individual who's got the deer in the headlights look next to us. His name is Jed McCaleb. He is the CTO and co-founder of the currently number 33 cryptocurrency in terms of market cap. What is it at right now? $193 million dollars is the market cap.
Million.
The organization is stellar.org, STLLAR.org, and he's had experience in technology and crypto for some time. He founded eDonkey, which is some sort of file sharing service, I believe, founded Mt. Gox, and also the founder of Ripple, which is another cryptocurrency, but now he's with Stellar.org. And welcome, Jed. How you doing?
Good. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you're not ready to run yet? We haven't scared him off yet.
Very nice. Hey, it looks like it's the 21st size cryptocurrency with market cap right now.
Are you looking at coin market?
Changes a lot.
I am. Yeah, 193 million. If you sort it by market cap, not market volume,
it's higher by volume.
No, I'm looking at market cap. So I'm just, I just want to make sure we have disclosure here. In fact, let me go ahead and I'll pull up my screen here.
If we're clicking on all, or if we're clicking on currencies.
I am going to share my screen and we're going to bring it up and let's just see what it says.
Okay, 33. That's on all. If we do all, that's including currencies and assets, you're correct. Just currencies, it's 21.
Okay. So there it is. Of course, the granddaddy Bitcoin's at the top with $70 billion market cap. And there are over, how many are there? Like 847 currencies are listed. And these guys, very impressive, sitting right here with this market cap is Stellar Lumens, which I guess is the currency of Stellar. Is that right, Jed?
Yeah, that's right. It's like, it's our internal native currency, we would call it.
Okay, so tell us what is stellar.org?
So the Stellar network, basically the goal of it is to be this internet level protocol for payments. It's the goal is to kind of connect all financial institutions and payment networks together, because right now sending money, it's basically the aim is to be able to enable sending money cross border. Right now that process is pretty cumbersome and works like pre-internet, right? So Stellar is a way, you can sort of think of it as a SMTP is for email. It's this like low level protocol that financial institutions can use to make sending money around seamless, right? So that's what the network is. Stellar.org is a nonprofit foundation that we set up 3 years ago to kind of be the shepherd of this network, to be sort of like Linux Foundation for it, right? Where it maintains the core protocol and it's also responsible for distributing these lumens out as widely as possible to the world.
What's the why? What's the big problem that that isn't being solved? I mean, right now, you can send money bank to bank from Thailand to Canada, right? But what's the issue?
So yeah, I mean, there are certain corridors where you can send money around. For instance, in the example you just said, it would probably take a week. You would get hit by extremely high fees. If you wanted to send $100 that way, it really wouldn't be possible. The wire fee would probably be like $60 anyway. So for some use cases, yes, sending money around the world works, but broadly speaking, it's pretty broken, right? So we do most of our work in the developing world, so places like the Philippines or Nigeria, and places there, more than half the people don't have bank accounts, right? So you need to be able to send money to their mobile money operator, or they need to be able to pull out cash from some ATM, things like that, and that system just doesn't work at all right now, right? So this is just it's actually a lot like the way email works. Like with email, it doesn't matter if you're sending a message from a university or a business or what have you, or somebody running their own mail server. Everyone can send messages to each other because they're following the same protocol. And today there's not one universal protocol that is used for sending money around, right? There's lots of different ones, and Stellar's Stellar's goal is to be this universal protocol. So it doesn't matter if you're a bank or a mobile money operator. If I'm sending one currency and you're receiving another, all these things should be interoperable.
Yeah. So there are the remittance fees in these third world countries and even second world countries are so astronomically high that it makes it not advantageous for people to use the traditional the banking system. Why do you think the banks are, if I wanted to send $100, why would the fees be $60? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a result of just kind of this legacy process of how the money moves around. Like basically all their software is pretty antiquated and cumbersome.
We went to see their machines. Are there all like command prompts running?
Yeah, it's like there's faxes that people send, and there's a lot of manual steps. There's like people
actually have to thing you call fax. What is?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. So
that's great.
And the other issue is that there's this corresponding banking system, right? So when you want to send money from, say, Thailand to Brazil, it doesn't go directly, right? It has to go to New York first, right? It has to go through the US dollar. And this is true even of countries that are right next to each other, right? So Thailand to like Singapore, it goes to US dollar first, which is really inefficient, right? And it involves like multiple currency exchanges and currency volatility and all these things, right?
Is that because of the global reserve currency? It has to switch to that first before it can be transferred to another currency?
Yeah, that's right. And because that's the way SWIFT works, right? Like basically every transaction goes through SWIFT ends up going to US dollar at some point, more or less. So
I want to pull up your website here, and there's a lot to go through, and we encourage you guys to go to stellar.org .org and poke around. But I kind of like I wanted you to be able to highlight that which you feel would be most useful, because there's a lot of content here. So maybe, Jed, you can tell us what you would like to share that you think our listeners should know.
Oh, sure. Yeah. There's kind of a lot to wrap your head around. I mean, I think, generally the cool things for me, I mean, I guess I take a little bit of a technology bent here, but is just the way the system actually works. So I don't know if you want me to actually like lead you through the where to click and stuff.
Let's talk about that. Is there somewhere on the site that I can
Sure. Just go how it works at the top, and then go read explainers, which is this kind of second link. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, look at that.
And this kind of like talks about how the system kind of works at a high level, right? So it is this decentralized network. Basically, what it is it's a distributed database, right? So it's coming to consensus about a particular ledger, right? And so in that ledger, we have your balance in lumens, but we can also keep your balance in other currencies, right? So that's why it's useful for this cross-border use case. Is you can put your balance in dollars or euros or Bitcoin or whatever, in any kind of asset, right, can be held in there. And then there's this distributed exchange that allows you to trade between these things, right? So when you're sending money, say from the US to Mexico, you're holding dollars, and in the network it gets traded into pesos, and then the person receives pesos, and there's somebody in the middle that's put an order inside Stellar buying the dollars and selling pesos, right? And then that person's order is taken with this payment, right? So the cool thing is it all happens atomically, meaning that no one, the sender or receiver, are not exposed to currency volatility. They're never holding anything they don't want to hold. The whole transaction either succeeds or fails. So it's much better for sending money internationally because you don't get stuck in the middle, basically.
A couple of things here I want to point out. One, this is a really simple illustration, but as we talk about decentralized networks, this really sums it up. This is an image of a centralized network. So right here in the middle, you've got the bank, right? And we all individually communicate, all institutions, individuals, businesses communicate with that bank. But in a decentralized world, see, there's nobody at the middle. You're always at the middle. You get to be the center of the universe in a decentralized network. Now, what stuck out to me here is this distributed exchange. Currently, if I want to buy a certain currency on a different exchange, typically what I do is I go on Coinbase and I buy with cash some Bitcoin. And then I send that Bitcoin to the exchange where I want to purchase the other currency. I sell that Bitcoin, and then I buy or whatever currency I've got, and then I buy the other. There's a lot of steps to it. It's complicated. So you're saying that Stellar makes it a lot easier and faster to make that exchange?
Yeah, it makes it easier and faster, and also makes it where there's less counterparty risk, right? Like you still have, when you put Bitcoin in the network, you still have what we call an anchor that is actually holding the real Bitcoin, and there's basically a Bitcoin token inside Stellar, but basically you're free to choose who your anchor is, and all these different Bitcoins can interact with each other inside the network, right? So it's just a much more fluid, flexible system, and it pulls the liquidity from everybody, right? So you don't have to go to like lots of different exchanges to do this, right? It's all inside one system. So it should be more efficient in the long run.
So is that located inside your Stellar wallet? Where exactly is this located at? So where would my Bitcoin be if I'm, using this protocol to buy Bitcoin? Where is that located at? Is it within the wallet? Is it within? Because I think that's maybe some area where people may not understand.
Right. So it's basically, again, the why we built it was to like connect existing financial institutions to each other, right? So when you have a dollar inside Stellar, it's not just a dollar, it's Wells Fargo dollar or Chase Bank dollar, right? It's backed by a particular institution, and we call that institution the anchor, right? So it's basically anchoring that tokenized dollar inside Stellar to the rest of the world, right? And you can also have these anchors for cryptocurrencies, right? So you can have like a Litecoin anchor or a Bitcoin anchor, and all that is it does. So an exchange today, like Kraken or whatever, does kind of two things. Like it custodians your Bitcoin, like you send your Bitcoin there, and now it's holding your Bitcoin, and then it's also providing this order book where you can trade these things, right? Mm-hmm. So Anchor just does the first part of that, right? You send your Bitcoin to the Anchor, and it custodians for it, and then issues you a token in the Stellar network where you can trade it or send it around to other people, things like that, right? So there is some entity that you have to leave your Bitcoin on deposit with to make this distributed exchange work. But again, it's flexible who you choose to, which entity you choose for that, and you can easily move it from one entity to another if something goes wrong, things like that. So, yeah.
So, okay, so stellar.org is the foundation, but you've created a currency that I guess is the fuel for the foundation, and they're called Lumens, and the symbol is XLM. So explain why the foundation needs a currency to operate.
Well, so the foundation doesn't need it. It's for the network itself, right? Because what we have is this open public network, and there needs to be a way to prevent people from DOSing the thing, basically, right? You don't want someone to generate like billions and billions of accounts, because you have this database where everything is replicated with everyone else, right? So the Lumen is the way to kind of limit that from happening, right? So every transaction has a very small amount of Lumen that must be spent with it. So it basically, one Lumen gets you 100,000 transactions. So it's essentially free if you're using it for anything normal, but if you're trying to, destroy the network, it gets expensive. And the same with making an account. Like if you put an account in the network, it requires a 20 Lumen reserve, and then you get that back if you close the account. So basically, just kind of, it makes it where people that are doing stuff in the network are more legitimate actors. And so that's why you need it. It also ends up being very useful for these cross-border payments, because, for instance, in these countries, like for instance, like Nigeria, you want to send money to Nigeria to like Bahrain or something, right? There's not a lot of liquidity there. And so rather than having an order book for each of these individual pairs, you have an order book from Nigerian Naira to Lumens, and then Lumens to Bahraini dinar. You can basically just have one order book for each country, and in that way you get much greater liquidity, right?
I've heard a lot about third world countries using crypto a lot more actively than what we're doing. We're doing a lot of investing in the Western world, but tell me what you know about how it's actually being utilized.
Yeah, so payments work okay in the US and Europe, and that's why when we explain Stellar to people in the US, they kind of like, well, why don't I just use PayPal or whatever? But when you go explain to somebody in Nigeria, they're like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like I want this today, right? Because their payments there are just super broken, right? And so it'll be a lot like cell phones, I think, where cell phones took off much quicker in places like Indonesia or Philippines, where they didn't have landlines before, whereas the progress was a little bit slower in the US, right? It's just kind of leapfrogging effect, where the infrastructure is just so broken in the developing world for payments that it should just go immediately to this better way of doing things, right? And I think so. The plan is basically starting there and just grow up from there. Like basically, like eventually the rest of the world should get on it as well. But I think you kind of build this first foothold or whatever in the developing world.
I have a question around that, because say I'm in a third world country. I don't have a smartphone. I have a regular mobile phone. Is this a protocol that works on these regular mobile devices? And how easy is it for folks in the third world countries to jump on the network and utilize this?
So again, it's mainly for, end users can use it. Like that's an option. I think that's really important, but it's like running a mail server, right? You can personally run a mail server, but you don't really. You trust Yahoo or Google or whoever to run your mail server. And the same will be true of this. Like you can run your own Stellar Core and like do the transactions yourself, or you can just have your financial institution do it, right? So they have mobile money things everywhere throughout the world. The problem is they're just not connected internationally, right? So these people have like that M-Pesa or like different mobile things on their phone, and those work on feature phones as well as smartphones. And then those financial institutions will be connected to Stellar, and the user won't even really know that that's what's happening. It'd be like when you swipe your credit card, you don't really know what's kind of going underneath the hood, but you just know the money moves, and that's all that people actually ultimately care about. Is that the money's actually moving. Right?
So you guys are doing outreach specifically to these financial institutions to get them on board with Ripple.
That's right, with Stellar, but yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was Stellar. Yeah, sorry.
That was
my brain. I was
sitting
there looking at this, going, "Wow, this seems like." I mean, because it's very specific around the financial institute, and how that's all working. So that's the little brain rewiring in my head's going on.
I mean, they're obviously like somewhat similar. I think we're just approaching the market in a different way.
Yeah,
there's a lot of places you guys can connect with Stellar. I think that their vision. Actually, I would like Jed. Why don't you synopsize the big picture vision for Stellar?
Yeah. So I mean, ultimately, the goal, like I said, is to be this kind of fundamental protocol for moving money around, right? Where, when any kind of financial institution wants to send payments, just by default, it uses the Stellar protocol, right? Like just when you want to set up a web page, by default, you use HTTP. So the hope is that we can get to that level. I mean, obviously that's like pretty ambitious. So we'll see, but maybe it becomes the default way of sending money around Africa or something like that. Like any of those would be good. I mean, I think ultimately what I want to see is more openness and more neutrality and less gatekeepers for people having all kinds of different levels of financial access, right? Because what you've kind of seen with the internet is it's basically democratized access to information and gave you this open thing, and it kind of led to all these benefits that probably the creators of the internet didn't anticipate, like things like Wikipedia and Airbnb. And I think we'll see some similar phenomenon when there's this open platform for financial transactions, right? Where now, if you're a kid in like Argentina, you can all of a sudden sell something for $1 to somebody in Thailand. Like it's just, I don't think we will can imagine what the repercussions of that will be. I think it'll be greater than what we kind of like first pass think of. So that's what I want to see.
It's a good thing for humanity. There's no doubt, more accessible that we make transactions to anybody, regardless of how much money they're sending. Transaction fees are stupid crazy. You guys can connect with Stellar if you go to their website at stellar.org and click the community tab. They're on Twitter, Slack, Reddit. There's a Facebook group, and there's some unofficial groups as well. They have an email that you can sign up for their Stellar news. And now we've got some really exciting news for you guys, because we are going to make it rain. Travis, why don't you talk about what we're doing?
I want to get into that real quick here, but I want to mention how smoking fast the transactions are within Stellar Lumens, and it's really interesting. And I noticed that the consensus, you guys have your own Stellar Lumens consensus protocol, right? That seems that doesn't rely on proof of work or proof of stake. It's actually a combination of multiple things. Could you maybe explain that real quick? Because I was amazed at how fast the transaction happened. From all the coins that I've used, Stellar Lumens was super fast. And why is that?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things when I first got involved in, first learned about Bitcoin, it was, once you realize that this problem is possible to be solved, that you can have this distributed consensus, like naturally as a computer science person, you just start thinking of other ways to solve the problem. And, I kind of came up with the vague idea that underpins Stellar, and then started talking to Professor David Mazaris, who is a CS professor at Stanford, just trying to like bounce ideas off of him, like how to make this more robust. And he actually got super excited about it, and took sabbatical from Stanford and wrote this long white paper that it describes the Stellar consensus protocol, right? So it's basically what it is just message passing between the participants, and it's sort of an extension of PBFT or Paxos, these consensus algorithms that existed before Bitcoin, but only worked in a fixed set of participants, where you'd have to know who all the people that were validating the transactions were, and extends it where it can work in a federated setting, which means that you don't know who everyone is, and people can come and go. And so now SCP is this kind of flexible system that works really quickly, but you can still know that that the network will converge to one value, right? So there's more detail. Like if you're interested, and there's more detail on our website. If you go to the stellar.org/developers, there's a link and a video where he goes through and explains the white paper's there, of course, but then he also explains and just do this presentation, which is
very cool. So it makes it go very fast, very secure, good stuff. And as Joel mentioned, we have a big surprise going on.
Now, can we make it rain? Now
we can make it rain. We're going to give away some lumens. Jed over here is said, hey, the Bad Crypto listeners, we'd like to hook them up with some lumens.
We're talking free cryptocurrency. Now, you guys remember we've got our own currency we're creating called Badcoin, and we were going to give some of that away to you, but there's no value to Badcoin right now. And when we talked to Jed, we're like, wait, we can actually give away something that actually has monetary value. And if we go to, let me go ahead and pull up the coin market cap again, so you guys know exactly what is coming your way. Let's see, there's the Stellar site, there's crypto market cap. So Stellar Lumens is right here. When I last loaded, currently sitting at 0.017518. How many decimal points is that? Six decimal points. There are over 11 billion lumens in existence. And first of all, why don't you talk about why you want to give lumens away?
Yeah, so basically, one of the fallouts of having a different consensus algorithm, because proof of work does two things: it validates the network, and then also distributes the bitcoins to the world, right? So we have a different way of validating the network. So all the lumens exist in the first place, like when the network starts, right? So one of the mistakes I think I made with Ripple is that we didn't distribute the XRP widely enough, and so with Stellar, one of the founding goals was to distribute 95% of them widely to the world. And then 5% are retained by SDF to pay for operations, right? So this is just one of the ways that we're distributing the lumens, right? I think the goal is to give, like for 50 billion of the lumens, we're giving small amounts to individuals. So hopefully get millions and millions of people to actually have the currency, and then they can start sending to each other, and it just creates activity and creates buy-in and interest and things like that. So it's just a way to promote the network and get people on board. Yeah.
Excellent. And because you, the Bad Crypto listeners, are special, you have an opportunity. We don't have lumens for everybody.
We don't have millions and millions of lumens.
No. Over the next month, we are going to be giving them away in probably 4 different distributions. Around 100 people at a time are going to get lumens from us, and we're going to ask you to take a different action and be the first to take that action in order to claim your lumens. And in this case, how many they're getting, Travis?
Getting 500 lumens per group, right? So we're going to do 100 for the first giveaway. We're going to give 100 away. And what we want you to do is sign up for the newsletter, right, Joel?
Which is valuable in and of itself. And
absolutely. You're getting all this value, but wait, there's more.
Yeah. So really, really easy to do, to claim to be one of the 100. And don't get mad at us if you miss it. There's thousands of listeners to this podcast. That's why we're spreading them out. We actually have 400 sets of 500 lumens that we're going to be giving away over the next month. So for today, the action that you want to take is to go to badco.in/news and put your email in, your name and your email, and then you have to verify your email address. And what we're going to do, the way our email database works, is they're consecutive. So we can tell the order that the subscriptions came in. And those first 100 verified email subscriptions, we will send you through the Stellar system an invite to claim your 500 lumens. If you don't write us and ask, where are my lumens, please? Otherwise, we're going to be flooded with email. We are going to give them to the first 100. So if you get an invite, you'll know that you are one of the first 100.
And it will not happen instantaneously. It will happen over that next 24 or 48 hours or so after that email, because that is some, administrative stuff that we're going to have to knock out. I want to ask you this, Jed. So once we send the invites to folks, right, and now they have access to these lumens, what is the best Lumen wallet that you would suggest that folks put it in? Because I see there's a few. There's one called Lobster. There's some other ones out there. What would you recommend?
So I think the two that I use the most are Stellar Term, which is basically allows you to do trading. Because like I said, that one of the cool things you can do with this is Stellar is essentially a decentralized exchange. So it allows you to trade the various currencies. So you can buy whatever, yen, anything like this. So yeah, it's
okay. Stellar Term, gotcha.
Yeah. And then the other one is probably Stargazer, which is a mobile wallet. So they can be on your phone. And yeah, it has lots of features. It's pretty good. So
yeah, now I'm actually showing the wallet page. When you go to stellar.org, you'll see up at the top wallets. Now we're going to make a tutorial that is that's going to go additionally into the Bad Crypto Extra on YouTube. Those of you listening to the podcast, we're going to conclude the interview portion, but we're going to keep talking to Jed. And if you want to see how to create your wallet and claim your lumens, then go over to YouTube and watch the rest of our tutorial. So Jed, thanks so much for joining us today, the CTO and co-founder of Stellar.org.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks
we really appreciate it. And where can people connect with you online?
Well, just either through our Twitter or, if you want to send me an email personally, just jed@stellar.org. That's my email. So
excellent. Jed, stay bad.
All right. Thanks guys. Talk to you soon.
Now we're going to show you how this whole process works. Yes. So that you are a crypto star. And part of the reason that we've worked with Stellar to do this is because we want you to get your hands on crypto, and we kind of figured along with them, what better way than to help you learn than to just give you some, right?
Very nice. Absolutely. And lumens, 500 lumens, that's around $10 ish, right?
It's about $850 right now.
About $850 right now. Yeah. So it gives you the opportunity to play around with some cryptocurrency that's maybe not going to make you clinch as much when you're like, oh my God, I just set some Bitcoin. Is it going to get there? Oh,
right.
It gives you a chance to test it out with some lumens, which was very, very graciously given to us to give to you guys from Stellar.org. Very cool.
Yeah. So what we did is we sent, so we can demo this for you, we sent it to ourselves, and we will make sure that these 500 lumens are also given away. But in order to get into the email to demonstrate, we sent it to ourselves. And then basically all you have to do is click accept the invitation. I accept you invitation. And then it loads up this page. Okay. Now it says create an account to claim your 500 free lumens for the Internet of Payment. So unless you live in China, which I guess there's other terms. I don't know if we have any China viewers or not, because China squelches.
We do have a few Chinese listeners, a few hundred actually.
Okay, so if you live in China, click here and do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the confirmation token by clicking this. Okay, now my email should have a confirmation code. So let's go back here. Grab that confirmation code.
Grab that confirmation code. I got this code right here.
Drop it like it's hot.
Drop it like it's hot. Okay, go to my confirmation token code right here. Put this in here. Boom. Verify your location. Generating your account and sending lumens.
Send me lumens. Send me lumens. Okay, so now what's happening is you now have 500 lumens in your account. Now, this is really important, okay? What you're looking at are two things that you're going to actually see again and again, no matter what currency you're using: a public key and a secret key. You want to copy them. It will always warn you to copy them and save them somewhere secure. Copy them to a file, print it out somewhere, and put it in your safe or somewhere that nobody will find it. Because if you lose your secret key, your currency is gone. You can't access it.
And actually, those of you who are going, moo-ha-ha, I see this guy's secret key. Well, these 500 tokens have already been transferred by the time you have watched this video. So there should be nothing in there.
You won't be able to get them. So click copy your keys and paste them somewhere and save it.
Yeah, you're not just going to click copy your keys, but you can. And then you're going to want to put those into a text document, or even copy those down, print them on a sheet of paper, and then put those in your safe.
A document, because we're going to need to log into a wallet.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
You're going to need those. So Travis is going to demonstrate the copying, the pasting, and the securing of said keys.
Yep.
But he's not going to show us how he does.
I'm not going to show you. Actually, I am, but I'm going to open up one of my the document for that.
Oh, you do that.
Document's already on there.
My fidget spinner.
You're going to.
By the way, if you guys like these, if you like the interview, if you like the bad crypto extras, this is stuff that this isn't in the podcast show. This is bonus on our YouTube channel. So please subscribeify, right? And leave comments here and let us know. Okay, so he has now pasted these into a document.
Text document, right? I opened up I use this tool called Write Room.
Yeah.
So there you go. Now I could go ahead and save these
I
as
kind of like that they're in green. It feels all matrixy.
it does feel like 1987 computers.
Are you the one?
That's Neo. That's a different crypto.
Are you the
So now we have these, right? So we have those written down. So now we can log into the Stellar account viewer.
You're going to want to do this. So just follow these steps, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And now you want to sign in. So put your secret key in there. Thus, the password is.
The secret key is.
Yeah, this
crypto.
is a disposable account. These lumens will be gone from here by the time that you get to Phoenix. Okay, so now it shows your balance. Your public key is if I wanted to send you lumens, I'll start that sentence 5 times just to make sure I get it right. If I wanted to send stellar lumens to you, you would give me your public key. Public key is fine. That's why it's called a public key. It's like your email address or your home physical address. It's cool that anybody knows your public key. It just means they can send you stuff. Okay. But you'll notice it says you haven't yet made a transaction with this account. You have 7 days to do so. If you don't, it puts those lumens back in to circulation. You lose them. And it's something to do with their code that Jed explained. It's like it triggers that your address is legitimate, blah, blah, blah. So you want to send lumens to another address. In this case, I am going to, just because I don't have any other lumens address, I'm going to go ahead or use yours. Yeah, find your find your public address, Travis.
Yep.
And let's give that to people, and we'll put it in the description as well. If you guys want to test, just send 1 lumen to Travis's address. It's like less than 2 cents. Okay, just so you can send 1. That way it triggers that your address is live. So find your public key, Travis, and then let's put that in the. I'm not going to put it on the screen because you're going to want to copy and paste it anyway. So we'll put it in the YouTube description below. Look for Travis's public key. Now, you can also send it to anybody else with a public key. You don't have to send Travis your 2 cents, although we do like when you leave us your 2 cents on iTunes or our Facebook page, but that's a different kind of 2 cents. But you need to trigger your account by doing 1 transaction, even if it's just for 1 lumen or even a fractional amount of a lumen. Doesn't even matter. Just so you know, your public key starts with G and your secret key will always start with S. That's how you know you're dealing with Stellar addresses. Now there's others, I'm sure, that start with G or S, but this is a constant. So now he's going to send to his own public key. You'll notice it's also a long string. It also starts with GB, right?
GDIM.
GD. Okay. And then now click in the amount to send. So go ahead and just send yourself. Well, okay. You can send them all, but just to demonstrate it, just send 1. 1 lumen. Okay. Now click send lumens. All right, it says you're sending, or you want to confirm. Transactions will always ask you to confirm. So click submit transaction. Submitting transaction to the network. It's done. Transaction done. Deducted 1 lumen from the account.
And a little piece of a lumen because there was the transaction fee.
Right. A 0.00001 is the transaction fee. Okay, now your lumens are there in the Stellar account, but what you might want to do is open up a wallet. So if you'll go to stellar.org, back to the homepage, and then click wallets in the upper right corner.
And so there's the Stellar desktop client. That's the one that I've typically been using. And he also mentioned Stargazer as one, Stellar Term.
Let's use Stellar Term since you already use a Stellar desktop client. We don't want to confuse them. So when you go to, and you could use any of these. Some of them are mobile, some of them are downloads for your desktop, and some of them are web-based clients. So again, you have your secret key for this new account.
That is correct. So I'm going to copy this again, which is not so secret since you guys are all seeing it.
Yeah, but this account will be emptied by the time you get here. So it's pasted in, and now you can see, not now, we're not saving that password. There it is. Now he has access to this account via this wallet that exists online. And through that wallet, he can receive, there's the public key right at the top where it says balance is 4, or he can send, or he can exchange. Now, we're not going to go in depth on this. The goal of this was to help you claim your 500 free lumens if you did indeed, if you were in the group that received them, and to show you how to access. And I think that we've accomplished our mission.
Very good. Success. Very nice.
Very nice. Thank you for watching this Bad Crypto Extra. And as always, we really appreciate your reviews and comments, your phone calls. All of the information about how to reach us is down below in the description. And tell us that you love us so much that you never want to see us go away. Or just give us a digital hug. Or send us crypto.
Maybe you do want us to go away.
Or bake us cookies.
Cookies.
We need affirmation. I do. I need affirmation.
Right. That's part of the deal. Joel and I have been in the marketing and technology game for a long time, and we're figuring out this crypto stuff, but we still need to know that we're loved.
Me love you long time. All right, catch you guys later.
My daddy didn't hug me enough.